Hey guys! Welcome to the Turkish series Stars channel. Every whisper, every clue, every behind-the-scenes detail is right here in our video. Before we dive in, remember to hit subscribe and share so you don't miss a heartbeat of what's unfolding. Thank you so much for being with us. Today, the entertainment world is breathing in shallow, shocked gasps over one headline that refuses to fade: the unexpected divorce decision allegedly looming over Barış Arduç and Elçin Sangu. Yes, you heard that right. The pair who, for years, were held up as the quiet example of harmony, reserved, respectful, never flaunting, are at the center of a storm that no one thought would ever find them. There is still no official statement from either side, but the rumors are so loud they feel almost tangible. And if that weren't enough, the most startling claim is that a date has already been quietly penciled in. According to whispers from those who insist they've seen more than the public surface, Barış Arduç and Elçin Sangu have been evaluating their relationship in private for quite some time. This isn't, the insiders say, a sudden rift sparked by a dramatic fight. It's the quiet kind of distance that creeps in when schedules clash, when life takes people down separate roads without anyone realizing it is happening until it's too late. The suggestion is that they reached a mutual understanding, a careful agreement shaped by long-standing differences rather than any single explosive incident. It's the kind of sadness that doesn't scream, it simply settles in. What amplifies the shock is the murmur of a specific moment on the calendar. You can almost hear the hush in the room when people say it: spring. The rumor mills claim that this season holds more than blossoms and mild weather, that it holds a starting point. The idea that a precise date has been chosen underscores just how serious this might be. Fans who have loved them for their on-screen chemistry and their off-screen grace are torn between disbelief and dread. This can't be true, they write, as they refresh social media feeds and wait for a denial that, so far, has not come. Silence has always been their shield. Barış Arduç and Elçin Sangu have never been the type to stage their love with grand declarations or constant joint appearances. In interviews, they have always leaned into the language of respect, of balance, of keeping private things private. Their relationship, whatever its official label at any given moment, was described as gentle, grounded, modest. And that is exactly why these rumors cut so deep. If the calmest waters can hide a current this strong, what else don't we see? Some who claim to be close to the situation insist that what's happening might not be a permanent goodbye at all. They hint at a pause, a moment to breathe and reassess, a grown-up decision to step back and decide what the next chapter should look like. The date that everyone's whispering about could be a turning point rather than a final act. Perhaps it's a deadline for clarity. Perhaps it's the day they say, "We tried, we talked, and now we know." Still, the evidence that fans can actually see is hard to ignore. No recent photos together. No overlapping captions. Posts that used to echo each other are now solitary notes drifting in separate directions. They used to travel between sets, offer small but telling gestures of support, appear at events with the kind of easy comfort that only comes from deep understanding. But lately, their paths look parallel rather than intertwined. The noise around this silence grows louder each day, and the tabloids cling to it, parsing every absence like a clue in a mystery. There are claims that career momentum stands at the center of this quiet storm. Those close to Elçin Sangu describe a woman determined to focus, to dive headfirst into new roles, to explore a broader canvas. She's driven, passionate, meticulous. Meanwhile, those on Barış Arduç's side speak of projects with international angles, commitments that stretch across borders, obligations that demand time zones and airports and distance. It's not scandal, it's timing. And yet timing can be cruel. What's striking is that none of these accounts include raised voices or dramatic exits. The narrative surrounding them, if it's to be believed, is woven from patience, from emotional intelligence, from the desire to shield each other from harm even in the midst of change. The phrase that keeps reappearing is quietly, without hurting each other. It suits them. It's what fans would expect from two people who have always seemed to understand the weight their names carry and the eyes that are always watching. Still, there's a question everyone keeps asking: if there is a date, how did it leak? Some speculate that a whisper slipped out during legal consultations, that a sliver of paperwork was seen by the wrong person, that someone who shouldn't have heard anything heard just enough. Others suggest it started within a tight circle, then rolled into the open like a marble that can't be stopped once it finds the slope. What's certain is that the seed was planted somewhere, and now we're all watching to see what grows. The memory of their sweetest moments is torturing the fans who don't want to believe any of this. Old interviews are resurfacing, precious photos are making the rounds again. Laughing looks, candid hugs, the quietly radiant energy that made people say, "That's what real connection looks like." Comment sections are flooded with confessions of heartbreak and hope. If they end, then what hope is left? And yet somewhere beneath the noise is a fragile optimism. Nothing has been confirmed. No one has stood in front of a camera to say the final words. Another line of speculation comes from those who claim the pair want one last conversation before anything is final. A long, honest talk when the date arrives. If this is true, it reframes everything. It means the circle isn't closing so much as hovering, waiting. It means the spring date might be for a decision, not a courtroom. A meeting to see if they can find each other again in the maze of what life and success have become. And if not, then to let go with grace, because that is who they are. The industry is buzzing, dissecting every pause and every move, but one detail stands out: the mutual respect that defines their silence. Those who know them say they refuse to turn something personal into a public circus. They are determined that whatever happens will not become feeding time for the loudest voices. And perhaps that's why there are no sharp words, no cryptic captions, no hint of bitterness. Just a dignified quiet that is somehow louder than the gossip swirling around it. Meanwhile, the tabloids keep circling back to geography. It's been said that lately the two have found themselves in different cities, juggling commitments that rarely overlap. You can feel the ache in that. It's not betrayal, it's physics, two people pulling in different directions by the force of their dreams. The kind of strain that doesn't announce itself with fireworks, only with the slow erosion of togetherness that becomes undeniable when you finally stop and take stock. Insiders insist that the set date, if it exists, doesn't have to be a funeral for what they've built. It could be the beginning of a new definition. They may choose to step back without slamming the door, to reimagine a bond rather than bury it. The idea that they would either part formally or decide to continue under a new framework feels exactly like them: measured, thoughtful, sincere. Of course, that hasn't stopped every tiny development from turning into a headline. A missed appearance becomes a clue. A solo smile becomes a message. A silent day becomes an omen. And yet, through it all, there's a sense that their decision will arrive not with spectacle but with a concise statement and a gentle goodbye, or, just maybe, with a promise to try again. Those who have watched them from the beginning remember the early days, the instant chemistry that lit up screens and spilled into the hearts of millions. They remember how carefully, over time, Barış's Arduç and Elçin's Sangu cultivated a balance between what they shared and what they protected. That's why the current tension feels like a collective heartbreak. If even this kind of care can't withstand the pressures of life at the top, then what hope is there for ordinary love? It's a dramatic question, but it's the way fans feel, and feelings aren't logical. They're real. Another layer to all of this is the split within their inner circle, or so the gossip insists. Some friends are said to believe that this is simply the toughest crossroads they've ever faced, not the end of the road. Others murmur that when people start talking about dates and paperwork, lines are already being drawn. The truth, as always, lives in the quiet spaces between words, where only they can go. What is beyond doubt is that both are deeply invested in not turning sadness into a spectacle. Those who respect them are following their lead, refraining from airing private moments, resisting the urge to speak for them. That restraint is rare in a world where whispers sell. It's another reason why the audience keeps listening for their voices and their voices alone. As spring inches closer, the anticipation almost has a sound, like a kettle nearing its whistle. Will it be an announcement? A denial? A decision to pause and renegotiate the rules of their bond? Or will it be a revelation that the storm never truly existed, that what we were all watching were the shadows of two hectic lives cast against different walls? Until they speak, every scenario feels possible. And so the fans keep posting the photos that used to make them smile, looping back to the jokes and glances that became iconic. They're rewriting their own memories as they wait. Was that look a clue? Was that week of silence a sign? It's human nature to search the past for evidence of the future. But sometimes the future can't be excavated from old moments. Sometimes it arrives on its own terms, in its own voice. Tonight, we stand where we've stood for weeks now, listening, watching, caring more than we probably should about two people who never asked for this kind of attention. It's a testament to the genuine affection that audiences feel for them, a connection built on good work, mutual kindness, and the timeless pull of a beautiful partnership, on-screen, off-screen, and somewhere in between. Whatever happens next, that story doesn't vanish. If the date is real, it may bring a meeting instead of a farewell, a final attempt to find alignment after months of drifting in different directions. It may deliver the softest ending imaginable, or the gentlest beginning. If it's not real, it will still have left a mark, reminding everyone that privacy is priceless and that even the calmest seas can hide a tide. For now, we wait. We wait for their voices, for their words, for the truth that only they can give. We wait with respect, with curiosity, with a touch of fear, and yes, with hope. Because until the story ends, it hasn't ended. And until they say it has, there's still a chance that the next scene will surprise us all. This is Turkish series Stars, and we'll be here the moment anything becomes clear. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and keep notifications on, because the second they speak, you'll hear it here first. Until then, we send a quiet wish into the air for Barış Arduç and Elçin Sangu, for clarity, for kindness, and for whatever ending or beginning suits their hearts best. Thank you for watching Turkish series Stars. Stay close, stay kind, and stay tuned.